Hi, I'm Christa Jacobson, headmistress of the Budo Ryu Kai, where we teach authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. In today's video, we're going to discuss my biggest mistake in running an international school of ninjutsu. That's what we're going to discuss today. The other day, I had someone send me a message on Facebook, and the individual said he's been following me on social media for many years, and he said, you know, you've been running the Budo Ryu Kai for almost 20 years. What would you say is the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and you know, how'd you learn from it? And I thought, that's a very good question. Of course, I really don't know this individual. I know that the person does follow me on social media on different platforms. I see this person hits the like button a lot on various different platforms of social media. You know, so I know that the individual does support me, you know, to a certain degree, but I really don't know who he is, right? I made sure that I answered the question in a very politically correct way, because in many ways the answer to that question is very controversial, you know, and I do have a list of very controversial topics that I want to discuss and put on my YouTube channel, and this is one of those particular subjects. So today, that is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about my biggest mistake that I've made in running an international school of ninjutsu and how I learned from it. So before I begin, okay, I always give a shout out to all of my new viewers. So if this is the first video that you guys have seen of me, again, my name is Christa Jacobson. I am the headmistress of the Budo Ryu Kai, which means School of the Warrior Way. We teach Koryu Ninjutsu and Koryu Bujutsu, which means the ancient martial arts of the ninja and samurai. The organization does have other areas of focus, such as reality-based self-defense, weapons training and tactics, survival skills, concealed carry, martial arts theory, thought and philosophy, martial arts conditioning. If any of those topics at all interest you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to click the bell. I do post 2 to 3 videos every single week, so if you are interested in any of those topics at all, like I said, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and keep up with everything that we are doing, okay? We're gonna have to go back 10 years, okay? So we're going back 10 years, right? And in this video, I'm gonna be making reference to lots of little things that was happening at that time, but I'm not going to discuss all those things. Those can be for other videos, right? But there's no way I can explain what's going on with at least making references to certain points, right? So let's go back 10 years or so. Back in 2011, I had a particular school who was a Bujinkan school, and they wanted to convert their school to be a Budo Ryu Kai school. And then in 2012, I had another school that wanted to convert their school into a Budo Ryu Kai school. So I had 2 groups back to back, one in 2011 and one in 2012. The 2011 group, which was the first group, we parted ways in 2015. And then in the 2012 group, we parted ways in 2018. Here we have training groups and we have schools. Training groups are people who are running groups for us, right? So it depends on what state you guys are in. If you're in the continental United States, if you're in the online ninjutsu dojo, lots of people are running training groups. They get together and train together. Then we have official schools. And the majority of people, you know, outside of the situation we're talking about, you know, they start at white belt, they build themselves through, they get used to the program, they like what we do, then they turn into being instructors, they run schools, etc. This is going to be the biggest mistake, and I'm going to explain why it was such a problem. And I think there's no way I can explain it without making references to other things, and I want to make sure that I talk about the group and the head instructor of that group, and then the second group and the head instructor, because I'm not going to do this one piecemeal. If I'm making this video, I'm making the whole video, you know what I mean? Because definitely this situation was probably my biggest mistake. I should have not made the decisions that I did, but nonetheless. Back in 2011, we had a group that was running a Bujinkan school, and they wanted to convert it to the Budo Ryu Kai school. Anyone who studies in the Bujinkan, if you guys come take a class in the Budo Ryu Kai, they are ran drastically different. They're not run the same. Classes are not the same. The structure's not the same. The requirements are not the same. I'm not going to sit there and nitpick shit. I'm just going to say that it's just not the same. It's a different organization that trains in a different way, a different format, okay? So my comeback was, okay, if you're going to do this, you got to do what we do. And we're very physical. Our physical requirements are, we don't budge on that, you know. We do have fitness requirements, workout requirements, sparring requirements. physical conditioning requirements. There's lots of things that we do that makes us who we are, and I'm not budging on that. The physical training here is, I am very aggressive, I'm very intense, and I think anyone who's ever trained with me, whether you love me or hate me, would say that. I think the people who train with me and don't really, not with us anymore, they probably say a little bit more than intense and aggressive. They might say that maybe I'm a little crazy towards the physical conditioning, because I do push physical conditioning quite a lot, and I will never ever not say that I don't use pain as a tool for teaching martial arts in this organization. I absolutely do. And maybe that's because I had to fight for everything I've had in my life. But I just think that, overcoming pain and adversity is the way to truly, build your character. And I don't want to take that away from my students. So without doubt, we are very physical, very physically demanding, and we have requirements. So I told this particular school, the first group, and I'm like, so you guys are going to have to do what we do. At this point, I can nitpick left and right. I can point fingers. I can say this, that, and the other. This was disrespectful. They did this, blah, 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 right? But I'm not going to do that, because it's been a shit ton of time. And in all honesty, the only thing I would say about the group, and I do want to make sure we're clear here, is that I do think that they're really good people. The first group, we're talking about group one right now. The first group that I worked with, I do think that group of people, they're good people, and they have a good heart, and they enjoy martial arts. And I did enjoy working with them. I think that they were really used to training a certain way and doing things a certain way, and they did not want to do everything that we're doing. They wanted to do some of what we're doing. I think a lot of people on the other side of the camera would sit there and say, well, why the hell, if they weren't doing what you were doing, why did you continue to work with them if they didn't want to do what you were doing? And straight up, they did not. I flew out there a few times. Every time I flew out there, they didn't know what we're doing. They didn't know the terms. Their class format wasn't the way we do it. It was a constant headache in that regard. But the one reason I stuck with it was because of the head instructor, and that's where I want to make sure I talk about the head instructor, okay? Because if I don't talk about the head instructor, then none of this ever makes any damn sense, right? The head instructor himself, he's a really good guy. And even though that, we parted ways years ago, and that sort of thing. And the last phone call was not a happy phone call in any way, shape, or form. And I know that group has posted some negative things about me and this organization, but, I'm not a petty person, so irregardless of what was said, and this sort of thing, I will always give respect to the talent when the talent deserves respect. And for that, what I mean by that is the head instructor that was running this group, he's a really good guy with a good heart. And that's one reason why it lasted so long, because I was working directly with him, and it was his responsibility to work with his students in his school. And he's a really good guy, has a good heart, and to flat out, again, I'll give respect where respect due. He's a really good martial artist. I can't imagine someone working with him in martial arts and not thinking that he's good at martial arts. Like, he's very talented in martial arts. So that's why it lasted so damn long. Because here I'm like, it's a good guy, he's got a good heart, he means well, and he's really talented. So this has to work, right? It didn't work. And after years and years of busting my ass trying to make it work and flying out there and all this kind of stuff, we just had to part ways. I mean, it's just like, you guys are not doing what we're doing across the board, and, it just didn't work. And it's very frustrating for me, because at the time, it was very frustrating for me because I'm very competitive, and I don't give up on things very easy. It was a mistake of mine to think that I could convert, one school over to another, I think at the time I was trying to make sure that I could grow the school, grow the organization. I really wanted more numbers and more schools. And I just found out that that's just not the way to do it. It wasn't the way to do it for me. Maybe other organizations prosper in that sense, and maybe that's because they don't stick to their guidelines and rules, or maybe they don't have guidelines and rules. I mean, I don't know. I just know for me, every student, we have rules, we have guidelines, and we stick to it. We have a curriculum, you stick to it. And there was a process. I told him that I was willing to blend, okay, we'll add a little bit of this, we'll go a little longer, add a little bit of this, and it would be a conversion to where we could get them on board of what we're doing. It wasn't going to be an overnight thing. And after a couple of years, like I said, 3 years or so, it was just very obvious that that wasn't going to happen. So one of the things I do regret with the situation was the phone call. I would say that I learned from that too, because I don't regret anything I said to that instructor of that school. I don't even know if that school is still around, to be honest with you. I have no idea. I don't Google people. I don't look up people. I believe in energy, and what you dictate the energy of the day. So if I go looking at certain websites that I know are hateful and negative, it kind of puts a hateful, negative tone on the day. You go down the rabbit hole, you're gonna have to go down the rabbit hole, right? So I don't really look up students or check out their pages, or it's not something that I do. I don't know if the group's still around. What I do know is, and what I do regret, is the last phone call that I had. If I could redo that phone call, I wouldn't change what I said. I wouldn't change saying, because it was growing, and the problem was they were totally not on board with what we're doing, and it was growing more and more frustrating. And so I don't regret the ultimatum. You either change now or we're done. Gotta go. I don't regret that. I don't regret what I said, because there are certain things that I just stand for in the martial arts, and I'm not going to bend on that. I do regret how I said it, and that's something, like, if I ever saw this individual, I don't know if I would ever see him in my life again anyway, but because our lives don't cross, right? I would definitely apologize for the tone that I used in the phone call, because he definitely didn't deserve the way of which I talked to him. What I said, I still stand by 100%. I'm not doing that. We're not that organization. We're this organization, and this is what we do. And if you're going to do what we do, you got to do this. So there you go. Where you want to go with it. I definitely support what I said, and I would say the same damn thing. I just wouldn't say it in the same way that I said it. Like I said to begin with, he is a good guy. He is a good heart. He means really well. He is very talented. But being talented in martial arts really doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he just didn't deserve the tone of which I said it. And if I could take one thing back with the phone call, I'd change the tone, But I learned from that mistake. The problem with that is that during that same damn time, I had the other group in 2012. They started in 2012, and they ended in about 2018. So you had one group that was about 4 years before we just called it quits, and the other group was about 6 years before we called it quits. And that group, I'm not even going to discuss. But I am going to put a footnote of that particular group on this video, because it's one reason why it is just the biggest damn mistake, is because if I only had group one, I don't know that I would say trying to convert one school to another school would be the biggest mistake ever. If I just only deal with group one, because one thing about group one, where like I said, I'll give them respect. Head instructor gave me a call. I'm like, dude, you're not doing what we're doing, and it's been this long, so it's like, you either change it now or we're done. And he made his decision. He's like, well, we're just done then, because I'm not going to do it. And they made their decision, and we parted ways. And that's fine. And I'll respect that. I always respect when someone comes and they talk to you face to face, they pick up the phone and call. And, like I said, I always give respect, regardless whether I agree with you or not. I still give you respect if you're going to man up and handle a situation face to face, and which he did. So I give him that respect. Second group, though, it was bad. The second group was the worst betrayal I've ever had in my life. I don't forget martial arts. Like, they did me wrong personally, professionally, financially. Like, it was so bad. The lies, the betrayal, the stabbing in the back, the two-faced stuff. If you take every negative thing that's ever happened to me on the internet, every video someone made on YouTube, every post someone put on a freaking forum, whatever someone's done, whether it's a forum, a post, a video, some negative comment somewhere, whatever it is, you take all of it and you wrap it all up. That doesn't come close to how bad group number two, just flat out. My mom always said that if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. So group two was just, earlier, I'm trying to make it professional here. Earlier when I said, I believe in energy, and I try to make sure that the energy doesn't go a certain way. So with that, I know I'm a little eclectic. I do believe in the threefold law and karma and all that kind of stuff, and which is one reason why I don't make videos about people or trash people, which is why I'm not really going to talk about group two. I'm just going to say that they did me wrong. They did do things that were really bad, and they did me wrong, and it was the worst experience of my martial arts career. It was worse than any video someone's made. It was, and the way it ended was beyond bad. It was just like bad. It's so bad that I would never waste a second of my life even talking to them on the phone, even if they called me. It's that bad. I'm not going to sit here and go through the whole situation with Group 2, but I do believe in karma. I'm not here to judge, but I do hope that they get everything they deserve for doing what they did to me. And because of the second group, that's what makes the concept of trying to turn one school and taking a school, regardless of what the school is, taking a school and then converting them over to a Budo Ryu Kai school, that just didn't work for me. And maybe it's because the way I teach, maybe it's because of our rules and guidelines, maybe it's just because the person that I am, you know, I don't know. But the biggest mistake that I've ever made is, you know, I should have just stuck to, you become a white belt, you go through the ranks, you do this, stick to the rules, you'll get it when you get it, right? And for the most part, that's what we've done. We've got multiple training groups, multiple schools. We've done it for many years. I have thousands of people over the world that train with me. But at that point in my life, I really did I tried to make the organization bigger. I was really focused on that, and it just turned out to bite me in the ass. It was the wrong decision. I'm glad I did learn from it, because there's lots of schools that try that kind of stuff, and then they get stuck, and they got to keep doing it, and they got to bend on their morals and what they stand for. For me, I tried. It didn't work. I wasn't going to bend on what I do. I wasn't going to bend on our requirements, rules, and guidelines and what I stand for. So shit just didn't work out. But it did take me, you know, years out of my teaching career of working with groups to convert them, and it just didn't work. The people that generally do well, the people who start at white belt, and they earn it as they go through. So I definitely learned from that experience. One thing that I think is a positive from it, and I don't know that's really positive, it's kind of a byproduct. Remember I said I got to go pinging back and forth? So in 2011, 2012, I had one individual that just did me flat wrong. And this individual really did me wrong. This individual doesn't even know how much I know that they did me wrong. Like I've had people send me screenshots of emails about me that they were having in private conversation, so I could see what was going on, right? It's bad. Anyway, there's this incident that happened in 2011, 2012. And because of that, I just lost trust in everybody. I decided to just be like, nope, done. If this is the way I'm going to be treated, then this is the way I'm going to approach things. So in many regards, I think that incident, I really started to cut things away and make things a little bit more private. Previous to that, I was a little bit more open with certain things, with the curriculum and what I do and how I do it. And but that happened in 2011, 2012 when group number 1 was starting, and then group number 2 was 2012, 2013, right? Well, by that time, because of this incident that happened in 2011, 2012, I guess one of the positive things is people come in and train at the Hanbu, and I always put out scrolls when they come to events and things like that. You know, they never really got to see some of the good scrolls, some of the things that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Yeah, they saw scrolls. They came in and saw certain scrolls, and I always put scrolls out so people can see that kind of stuff, but not the ones that are near and dear to my heart, not the ones that I was, you know, given and I earned, things like that. That wasn't something that they got to experience. If I didn't have the incident that happened in 2011, 2012, well, then there would have been that situation, because I'm looking back, there would have been that situation where I probably would have had those scrolls out there. And then what would have happened if someone who really wasn't dedicated to what I'm doing, then they see something that's totally near and dear to my heart and very intimate to who I am as a person, and then they go off and say negative things and hurtful things about me all over the internet, right? So in many ways, the betrayal and the crap that happened in 2011, 2012, you know, a specific individual, and which made me stand back and be like, okay, I'm not trusting anybody, I'm not working with anybody, which is another video I want to make, you know, why I don't work with anybody anymore. Because of that situation, it did lead me to make sure that I didn't put certain things out and make certain things public or share certain things unless the individual was 100% trusted. And with that being said, maybe there was a little bit to, because I was holding back on things, because I felt like betrayed, or maybe people were trying to betray me or something. Maybe the fact that I didn't, you know, go, you know, what do you call it? go all out in certain areas, or display certain things. Maybe if I would have displayed certain things or done certain things, maybe that would have changed an outcome. I don't think it would have changed an outcome, to be honest with you, because their problems was, both schools had the same problem, right? Just in a different way. And regardless of what either group would say on why they left, at the end of the day, they're not with us because they're not doing what we do, regardless of whatever excuse they want to throw out there. And I'm not going to bend on what we do, how we do it, and the physicality of which we do it. So, but, like I said, group one, I did enjoy the time. I do think they're good people. I did, and I wish them the best and whatever it is that they're doing. Like I said, I don't even know if they're training anymore, but, so I do wish them the best, to that group and to the instructor, the head instructor. He's a good guy, he has a good heart. He means well. Very talented, and if they're still training together and doing their thing, I wish them nothing but the best. I don't have any hard feelings. It just didn't work out. It's just all there was to it. It just didn't work out. That they just weren't going to changing from this type of training to this type of training. It just wasn't going to work, and I learned that. The second group, though, I have nothing nice to say. So since I have nothing nice to say, I'm not going to say anything except for, it was the biggest betrayal of arguably one of the biggest betrayals of my life. Definitely the biggest betrayal and flat out disrespect I've ever experienced in my martial arts career. And because of that group, that definitely changed the way that I've handled this organization since 2018. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. This was biggest mistake of my martial arts career, right? Thinking I can take anybody and make them a Budo Ryu Ninjutsu instructor, all right? Very egotistical of me to assume that I can just take anybody and turn them into a Budo Ryu Ninjutsu instructor. I learned that I am mortal, learned that it's not going to happen, and not everybody is going to do what it is that we do. So let me let you guys go. Again, if you guys are interested in authentic ninjutsu and classical samurai bujutsu, please check out our website at www.budoryuninjutsu.com. There you guys can see a list of our schools. You guys can see the 7 traditions that we teach, the areas of training and philosophies that we have. If you guys do not live next to one of our schools, you guys can always join the Budo Ryu Kai online ninjutsu dojo, and you guys can start with us and train with us that way. Okay, so thank you guys very much. I do appreciate it. Take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo.